Good morning and welcome to my Four Boys and an NL Girl podcast. My name is Patty and I'm so glad that you've decided to come and join me this morning or this afternoon or this evening whenever you're having time to sit down with a cup of tea and maybe some knitting or crocheting or something that you're making and spend some time with me. So I really appreciate that. I have my contact information, should be down at the bottom of the screen so you can get in contact with me. I'm still horribly negligent with my show notes. I'm hoping I just finished my, I'm the newsletter editor for the Rug Hooking Guild in Newfoundland and Labrador, and I just finished the newsletter. It went out, the electronic copy went out this week. I need to get it printed. I'm off to do that after this podcast to get the hard copies. There's about 35 members that receive their newsletters by hard copy. So I need to get those printed and sent off. And then I can concentrate on doing things like updating my show notes, at least the most recent podcast show notes, so that you can have a look at any information or podcasters or indie dyers or anybody else and anything else that I talk about during the podcast, so that you can get that information on the show notes section of my blog. And my blog has been horribly neglected, so hopefully that'll be a chance for me to get on there and do some work which hasn't been done in quite a while. So as I said, welcome. It is a gorgeous day in the most easterly province of Canada in Newfoundland and Labrador. It is 5 degrees Celsius. It smells like spring. I am not silly enough to think that this is actually spring. We are probably going to get 1 or 2 more snowstorms before spring starts here. But it is a beautiful day. We had last weekend hurricane force winds here that caused significant blackouts and cold for a lot of people in the province. A lot of damage, houses losing their roofs and second floors. The traffic lights in St. John's, for example, I think over half of the traffic lights have just disappeared because they blew away. Signs being knocked over. So it was we were very lucky here. We were in the lee of the wind, so our house didn't sustain any damage, but we did lose the power for 36 hours. And we're lucky enough that last November, my husband and a local company, my husband did the rock wall in behind our new stove, and a local company installed a wood stove for us, so that if and when, because the power does go here occasionally for when there's big storms, so that we would have a stove to keep us warm, and a stove that we could boil water on and use to cook meals and that kind of thing. So the stove did admirably well. It got its first chance and good workout in terms of, we use the stove all the time for having a nice fire in, but for actually keeping the house fairly warm and keeping us warm and cooking for us, did a great job. So we're really happy about our little stove. We have a Morso stove, which I think is a Scandinavian style of stove, and it's not that big. It's up on legs. I'll put a picture in so that you can see it. Like I said, it did a great job for what we needed. I'm being a little distracted by a cat Bella is wandering around. She may or may not come and visit us this morning. So without further ado, I want to get into works in progress. I don't have any finished objects to show you today. I'm hoping that myself and more people have some finished objects soon, because Barbara over at Knitting I Love and I are hosting a Crafty Spring Make-Along. And we're really interested in getting as many people as possible on the Ravelry thread submitting their finished objects. Similar to the winter Make-Along, the spring Make-Along with Barbara will also include all kinds of crafts. So sewing, crocheting, rug hooking, painting, paper crafts, whatever things that you're making, then those are the types of finished objects we want to see in the Make-Along. We want as many people involved as possible. And I don't think I think there's 1, maybe 2 finished objects that have been submitted so far. So it's time. It's almost, it is mid-March, so there's still plenty of time. It runs until the 31st of May. And I'd love to see some of your finished objects put in there, and I'm hoping that I will have a finished object over the next week or 2 so I can put it in the chatter thread. I won't obviously put it in the finished object thread, but so that you know that I am also steadily working on things and trying to get things finished. And I see that kind of a deadline, the 31st of May, as an opportunity for me to get something finished around my house. And hopefully you can do the same. So please join us. And hi Barbara, how are you doing? It's great to be hosting or co-hosting a make-along with you. Barbara is in Ireland and I am in Newfoundland and Labrador, arguably the most Irish-influenced location in the world next to Ireland itself. We have our huge, tomorrow is St. Paddy's Day. We have huge celebrations here to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and that's a lot of fun, as I know it is in Ireland. So happy St. Patrick's Day. So the first work in progress, I only have two. I'm going to show you a knitting project, and I'm going to show you Sammy the Snowman, my rug hooking project, because I thought he was done, but he's not, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And I hope I'm not talking too fast this morning. The spring air has made me very invigorated, so I'm very excited. So the first thing I want to show you is my Close to You shawl, which I have been knitting with Strand Designs, who's an Irish indie dyer. I'll put her information on the screen. This is a shawl designed by Lettuce Knits, and it was suggested to me by my friend C in Ireland. Hi C, how you doing? This is a great shawl. If you want a shawl, if you're a beginning shawl knitter, I would highly recommend it. If you're a beginning lace knitter, I would highly recommend it. It's a really nice, it has enough just plain knitting. It's a garter stitch shawl, so there's enough plain knit so that you can relax. And then there's just a little bit of lace thrown in there. Not very much at all. It's only every 5 rows. 6 rows, 5 or 6 rows. And just a little bit of lace there to work on to keep your interest up. And other than that, it's plain garter stitch. So it's really, really fun. So I wanted to show you, let's start off by showing you where my beautiful Progress Keeper from Barbara is there. So you see that little bear? Hopefully the camera's focusing somewhere near that little bear. And then this is how much of my actual shawl that I have completed. So I am really getting there. I'm really excited to soon to finish this. This is, I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of the shawl. It's going to, see the beautiful lace detail there on the edge. I'm not sure if that's going to show up or not, but hopefully it does. It is really lovely. And the colors are going to go well with my coat, with my jeans. I think I'm going to, like I said, I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this. I have this much yarn left. Cover up my face, so hopefully the camera will focus on that. So I am really getting down, and I'm excited about finishing this yarn and getting the shawl washed and getting it around my neck. I'm really excited to get this finished. This has been the perfect shawl for me because I mentioned my family has been sick, including myself. This past week I had one of my middle son was home. My oldest son was home for a day. My husband was home for an afternoon, sick in bed again. Last week my husband took 3 days off of work, and he hasn't taken 3 consecutive days off sick from work in his entire working career. So this has been quite a bad bug. And now all 4 of my boys have sore throats at the moment, and it's a sore throat that I had a week. I've only had it gone maybe for a week. I had it for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's a wickedly sore throat. It's not strep throat because I did go to the doctor and check. It's just a really, really uncomfortable sore throat. So all of my boys are being affected by that right now, and it means things in our house are quite, it's busy here at the best of times, so right now things are a wreck. The place isn't messy. I'm barely keeping up with keeping the kitchen clean and the bathrooms clean. And I think because people are sick and I'm not, if somebody is lying on the couch, I not really want to get the vacuum out and vacuum around them necessarily because they're sick. So things have really gone to, the house is a bit of a tip at the moment, and I'm okay with that. That's all I can do. I'm trying to keep up. And now that I'm feeling better, I can start to get to some of those things. But really, housework has not taken a priority. And the knitting that I have needed has had to be really relaxing and slow going and not anything that I really needed to concentrate on. Even on this one, I actually have to, I got to take back a row. I ended up knitting a row too far because I was just so keen to knit and knit an extra row, so now I have to go back to put in my lace pattern. But that's fine. It's the first time I've had to take anything back in this shawl, and that was my own silly fault, so that's okay. And now I want to show you Sammy. So here's Sammy. You haven't seen Sammy in a while. Sammy is my winter snowman. He was going to be a decoration for winter. I think winter will be over by the time Sammy is completed. So you can see here, I have a really nice kind of stippled edge around Sammy, and I was going to finish him up like that, but my husband had expressed the concern that once I whip stitch around the stippled area that Sammy would likely curl, and you can see even now, I think hopefully you can see this, that it's kind of curling in around here. So what I've done is I've made an arch all the way around Sammy and over here, and I'm filling in with some pretty I'm still keeping with the purples and blues that I've got around Sammy, and then I've put in a little bit of red here and there just for a little bit of interest and kind of to make the red pop, which I hope will pop the colors in him. I still don't have Sammy's buttons sewn on in his belly. I need to do that. But this is working up very nicely. I haven't been hooking a whole lot lately, except at a hook-in that I attended a few weeks ago for the Rug Hooking Guild. So I'm really overdue in getting some more of Sammy done. And I would really like to get Sammy done because there's another project I want to work on. It's a larger floor mat that I want to work on actually for my husband. And I've probably mentioned this before. He had asked for a mat to go next to the bed in our bedroom. It's probably going to be, I don't know, 2 by 3 feet or something like that, which is will be the largest rug that I've worked on. And I'm still trying to sort out a pattern that I want to use for it. I have one designed, I think, in my head, but it's still a bit of a work in progress. So I guess I'm struggling with that a bit. And with my hooking, I really prefer to have one project on the go at a time. With knitting and cross stitching and crocheting and sewing, I have so many projects on the go. That doesn't bother me, but with hooking, I really like to keep to one project at a time. I'm not a fast hooker. I unfortunately don't devote as much time to hooking as I should or necessarily could. I spend part of my time, I guess, working on the Guild newsletter, which is hooking related, but definitely not hooking. And then I need to spend a bit more time hooking to get Sammy finished so that I can concentrate on some other hooking projects that I want to work on. So I have mentioned my works in progress, my Close to You shawl, and my Sammy the Snowman. I've talked to you briefly about Barbara and over at Knitting I Love podcast, and about our Crafty Spring Make Along, which I really, really encourage you to join. I haven't got my prizes sorted out yet for that. Barbara has generously donated one of her hat patterns to the prize pool, so that's awesome. I have some other things that I am collecting, and I'll show you next week for prizes for the Spring Make Along. But let's face it, there's still lots of time. It's till the end of May, so I'm really hoping that we get as many people as possible to join us with that Make Along. It's a short podcast again this morning. I hope you enjoy the footage that I am enclosing at the end of this podcast. It's all about Signal Hill, which is the highest point around St. John's, and I show a nice panoramic of the city of St. John's. It was a gorgeous day when I went up and did this footage. It was last week, actually, before the storm hit. And it was a beautiful day like today, but it was freezing cold. And I was shaking so much from the cold when I was taking the video. If you notice some shake in the video, I apologize. It's just because the wind was so hard and I was so cold that I was shivering. So I hope you enjoy the little movie clip at the end of this showing you some more parts of my beautiful province. So take care, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye-bye. Bye.